Hi, friend. Welcome to Holly's Highlights, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you to intentionally live your life full of purpose. I'm your host, Holly Kirby, motivational speaker, leadership cultivator, marketing strategist, and personal cheerleader. Let's check out today's highlight. This episode is brought to you by Glorietta Adventure Camps. My kids and I recently went to Glorietta in New Mexico for family camp. And oh my lands, best investment for my family and priceless summer vacation. If you are looking for a summer adventure that is full of exhilarating activities and opportunities to grow closer to those who you love all while in your walk with the Lord, well, you'll want to book your Glorietta Adventure Camp today. From activities such as my personal favorite, Via Ferrata, to the nice hotel accommodations, and even accommodating my food allergies for the meals. This was truly a week of family time that transforms. So 2023 dates are now available, so check them out at glorietta.org. The first 4 families that book using promo code Holly's Highlights, that's with a capital H on Holly's with the apostrophe S and capital H on Highlights, you'll receive 10% off. So first 4 families receive 10% off when using Holly's Highlights promo code. So what are you waiting for? Book your family's unforgettable summer vacation for 2023 at glorietta.org today. That's glorieta.org. Good morning, friends. Today is a special day for our family. My mother, who passed away 2 years ago from a sudden diagnosis and yet courageous fight against glioblastoma brain cancer, she would have turned 75 today. Now, when I think of my mom, there are so many memories that come to mind and words that reflected the woman she was, such as faithful, mighty prayer warrior, teacher. She was very patient, and I could go on and on and on, but something that mattered most to her was family. In fact, God was so gracious that the very night she passed, he blessed her and us with just that. Our entire family gathered around under her roof for what would be our last all-together family sleepover. Now, this episode is in her honor as we focus today on our families. And just as companies and individuals can often write out a mission statement, so something that helps provide basically a reason for existence, so also is it helpful for families to align the family's purpose and goals and direction. Now, this is something that our family never sat down to do. I'm really not sure they existed in my formative years. But throughout life, we have naturally adopted a motto of God's got us. And we've taken that and used it as a testimony to share of God's goodness in our lives, even when, or I should probably say especially in, the hardest times. So as my children are getting older, so hard to believe I have one midway through their middle school years and another in their high school years, but I'm reminded how important it is to raise them up with a solid, loving family culture where they can stand on their values and beliefs throughout whatever they face in life. Now, I was very intentional in investing in our family unit this summer with our family vacation. We went to Glorietta Adventure Camps in New Mexico. I had actually grown up going to and then taking youth to Glorietta when I was youth director at our previous church for a decade, but I had never experienced anything like this. We were talking just like a movie, a full-fledged family camp experience. It was awesome. Now, a side note here, if you're interested in taking your family next summer in 2023 to Glorietta, they have 6 different weeks to choose from. Check them out at glorietta.org. That's glorieta.org, and use promo code Holly's Highlights. That's capital H and apostrophe S for Holly's and then capital H on Highlights. And you'll get 10% off your camp fees. That's for the first 4 families to register using that code. So keep that in mind time-wise. Anyhow, as I mentioned, this experience was truly amazing. I'm so thankful we got to go. So when we got home, I had the idea to sit down with my kids and come up with our values and our vision and basically our family mission statement. I had never done this before. I did this as a personal mission statement years ago, but not as a family. Again, being intentional to invest in my family, something I learned from my mom, I was basically seeking to help us put down on paper what really matters to us. So what we could hold each other accountable to or reference when choices are made. So we did it. Now, I got to pre-warn you here, though. It felt intense at times, and we had to take a few breaks. My son was full of giggles, and my daughter developed a headache. And, of course, I, being an achiever, for more on that, you can check out Season 2, Episode 4 on our personality tests. But I just wanted to finish what we started. But as we did finish this project, we prayed through it and then all committed to the results. I thought perhaps I'd share with you how to make your own family mission statement in hopes of helping your family stay aligned and just help cultivate that overall desired family culture. After all, the wanted outcome that we want for our families doesn't just happen, but it requires intentionality. Now, keep in mind as a believer, I'm going to add in steps that I personally value. But of course, feel free to adapt to your family's needs and beliefs for this project. I also must give a side note that if you have younger children, you may just want for you and your spouse to sit down and work through this project together for your family, maybe after tucking the kids in bed or perhaps as a date night out, whatever works for you and your spouse. But for me, my children are old enough now that it was important for me to include them in every step. Keep in mind that when we do include our children in things and decisions and inputs, they'll tend to have more buy-in and engagement because they feel more a part of the process and the implementation. I also recommend letting your kids know why you're doing this and why it's important to you to be creating this family mission statement all of a sudden. Their voice needs to be known that it has power, that it matters, and that it's valued in your family discussions. So it's just something to keep in mind. You could even let them know, hey, we just learned about this, so we just wanted to do this for our family. This way they kind of understand the sudden urge to do something like this as a family all of a sudden. So to get started, you're going to need to have a piece of paper for each family member, and then a writing utensil, so a pen or a pencil, and then either a phone with internet access or a computer somewhere accessible, laptop, whatever it might be. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. So 5 steps to start off with. And this is where I'd say first things first, gather the troops and pray. Pray for distractions to clear. Pray for focus and clarity. Pray for unity and just pray for the direction for your family where you're going to go with this. Second, have someone dedicated as the scribe, so the one writing down everyone's answers, and think through, both quietly and then aloud, your response to some of these questions I'm about to read. Now, there's 6 of them, so stick with me for a moment. 6 questions to think through and then speak loudly with each other. What does your family enjoy doing together? What is each of your family members passionate about? How would you describe your family when they're at their very best? What areas does your family need to work on? Now, maybe look at this as how you are at your worst, or weaknesses you each have, or a conflict within the family. I personally like to view it optimistically of what growth opportunities does your family have? And then, are there any goals you guys have as a family? So things that you want to do or accomplish. And finally, how would you like for people to describe your family? Now, third, add to that list any family quotes, mottos, Bible verses, anything that your family has that you repeat often in your home. Now, I'm talking about not the no or because I said so words, but things more like don't let the bad air out or were you born in a barn? Those might show a need for stewardship, right? These things, the family quotes, the mottos, the repeated sayings, Bible verses, any of that, that's going to help you here in a bit. So just keep those separately listed, but keep those handy here. Number 4, give each family member a piece of paper and a pen, and now have the scribe type in action words in their search engine. So actually type in action words. This could be, again, on your phone, your computer. And you're going to take quite a bit of time, and there's going to be a lot of them. We're talking probably 75 to 100 perhaps. But read aloud different action words and have each family member write down the word that pops out to them. Now, to clarify here, these are not words that they know. One of my children did that, and we had 2 full pages full of words. This isn't a vocabulary test. These are words that really resonate with them. Words may include such as champion, adapt, encourage, navigate, plan, know, promise, love, build, create, listen. You get the idea. 5th step is going to be on the back of that paper. Have each family member write down values. Again, if you need to type in value words in your search engine, go ahead and do that and read those aloud. Again, you'll probably have 75 to 100 of them pop up. But these words are going to be ones such as integrity, joy, caring, church, trustworthy, focus, family, empower, courage, quality time. Again, you get the idea. Now, by this time, your family has invested some time in this project. So this may be a good stopping point for you to just stop and take a break, even regroup the next day if you need to. But this is going to be a good breathing spot to regain some focus and energy to finish strong and with clear minds for the next part that we're going to do to actually finish out developing this mission statement. Okay, so let's say you've had your moments, everyone's had their breather, and then you're going to regroup the troops again. Now, have everyone reread through their own lists of action words, and they're going to circle maybe 3 to 5 words that are the most applicable for them, or the ones that leap off the page at them the most. And then do the same thing with the value words. Again, it's going to be 3 to 5 words total circled. And yes, this will be challenging, especially for those of you who was like one of my family members who had a full page full of words. It will be a little challenging to break it down to 3. But don't overthink it, just go for it. Now, by doing this mission statement, we're going to get an added bonus of a vision statement and values. So let's clearly define the 3 here. Mission statement. Now, according to Wikipedia, a mission statement is a short statement of why an organization or a family it even exists. What's its overall goals? A vision statement, according to Wikipedia, is an inspirational statement of an idealistic emotional future of a company or a group, in this case, a family. It grounds the group or the family so it can have some impact on the world. And then values, according to New Oxford American Dictionary, they're principles or standards of behavior or one's judgment of what is important in life. So go ahead and refresh those purposes, the mission statement, the vision statement, and the values of each of those to your family. And just as before you took a break with them having 5 steps that we led into, we're going to finish this strong with 5 steps. So stick with me here. First step now is we're going to let's tackle that mission statement. This is going to pull from some of those questions we asked earlier, such as what is your overall goal for your family? And how would you like to be described as a family? Now, for us, those answers were basically to grow in our walk with the Lord and to show love to others. So this is where you'll also want to look at the words list, both your action and your values, and see what words are similar to each other on your list. We took some of our value words that we had in common with each other, and we made our mission statement to encourage, value word, heal, listen, and love, catch all of those value words, as we grow in our walk with the Lord, while showing care, compassion, kindness, and God's love to others. So you can kind of hear how we incorporated some of those action and value words into what was going to be our overall mission statement. Now, stepping on down to step 2, working on that vision statement. What impact do you want to have in this world? This is where those quotes and mottos and even verses can come in handy. So perhaps you adopt one of those as your vision or incorporate it in your vision. For us, I have always taught the kids that the most important thing about life is to have Jesus in your heart. And as we were going through this project, they remembered that. So when discussion quotes and mottos and verses came up, that's what they mentioned. So we took that and added to it as our vision statement to do, say, and think about what glorifies God, as we were reminded that the most important thing about life is having Jesus in your heart. Now, talk this through. Adults, you may have to take the lead here. Your kids have provided the input to you, but they'll need your guidance in formulating the words as to what to do with the answers and that they gave earlier and how to actually bring that about to read as result. Step number 3. Now back to that list of value words and action words. Again, what words do you have in common? For our family, we had words such as worship or church, family, integrity or character, and sharing or service. So we took those words and adapted them to be our family values of Lord, family, character, and serve. Now look at some of the answers from those questions in the first session. So before you took a break, the ones that the scribe wrote down for your family, I'll repeat them just in case. What does your family enjoy doing together? What is each of your family members passionate about? How would you describe your family when they are at their very best? What areas does your family need to work on? How would you like for people to describe your family? And then are there any goals you guys have as a family? So things you want to do or accomplish. Well, which ones can you take and use under each of your family values? For example, one thing we had down that our family enjoys doing is going to church. So under our value, Lord, we have a bullet point that we will stay active in the church body. That includes worshiping, learning, and serving. That included some of our action and value words. We also love to travel. So that was a passion, a goal, and something we like to do together in response to those questions. So under the value of family, we put a bullet point that we'll take a family vacation together each summer. Now, how many values your family comes up with is totally up to you. We ended up with 4. We originally had 3, but then simplified things by moving part of our number 3 to be a 4th. And then how many bullet points that you have underneath each of those values is going to be totally up to you. They just kind of help provided added guidance for under each value as what we would do to reach that value. Again, we had about 3 or 4. Again, keep in mind though, your whole family needs to be able to memorize these to live by, but it also needs to be very, very clear. So step number 4, we're going to now tailor it and simplify it. For exactly the reason I just said. Sometimes you're going to be like, wait, I didn't add this word in somewhere, or I don't really like how that reads, or this is a whole page for us to memorize. So again, tailor it and simplify it. Now we incorporated our Bible verses to pair up. So our mission statement had a verse, our vision had a verse, and our values had a verse. We also took what looked like a daunting page of a mission statement, vision statement, and values to have to remember, and we really simplified it by bolding the main idea of each section. So although our family mission statement is to encourage, heal, listen, and love as we grow in our walk with the Lord while showing care, compassion, kindness, and God's love to others, it is easily summarized as walk with the Lord. And although our family vision is to do, say, and think about what glorifies God, as we are reminded that the most important thing about life is having Jesus in our heart, it too is easily bolded to summarize having Jesus in our hearts. And our 4 family values, although a full sentence for each one, they can simply be bolded to summarize Lord, family, character, and serve. You'll find as you go through your questions in your list that you may need to go back up and revisit or tweak your mission statement or your vision or even your values, and that's okay. This is a good starting point of at least laying things out. Now, step number 5. We are finally there, my friends. Step number 5. Once you get everything squared away where you want it, and you have read and reread it all as a family to make sure everyone's on board, then each one commit to it. Take time to pray over it, to dedicate it to your family, and then post it. Now, I'm not talking about a post on social media necessarily, but put it up somewhere in your home where all of you can reflect on it, live by it, reference it, and truly connect with each other through that solid foundation of what your family culture will exude. There are plenty of options on Etsy if you aren't the creative type, or we just went ahead and printed out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, framed it, and put it up on the wall where we'll pass by several times a day. I'll be sure to add our family mission and vision statement as well as our values on the episode page of this episode on my website at hollykirby.com. So feel free to check that out if you'd like to see how we broke ours down. Hopefully that will be helpful or as a resource to you. I really cherish, though, how both my son and my daughter, they got so engaged in this process. And even the words that stood out to them, I could see their love languages reflecting in some of these words too. You can learn more about that on love languages in season 3, episode 3. Now, do families have to have a mission statement or a vision statement or listed values? No, mine didn't growing up, but my parents were amazing at drawing us back to what our family stood for, and they truly lived by example. I am grateful for that. Both of my kids have seen other families making different choices in life. You know, kids doing things to where my kids would ask, well, why can they fill in the blank? Or did you see what they did? And I have so often, like I'm sure you can relate, I have so often responded, they aren't my child, or I'm not their mom. Or some families will respond, that's not how the family name does it. But now we have collectively come up with our family culture through this mission statement, through this vision, through these values, that I can now use these to ask them, does that match up with our values? Or does that fit our mission or our vision? It just creates more alignment, more direction, and more engagement as to what your family will reflect and live by and even be known for. Families are going to look a little different, and it does take a village. And thank goodness for different cultures and heritages too. But again, as I learned from my mom, be intentional investing in your family. As the saying goes, family, like branches on a tree, we all grow in different directions, yet our roots remain as one. So here's to families, and here's to my mom. Happy 75th birthday to her. I'm grateful for her legacy left of valuing, prioritizing, and loving family. Thank you for joining me on this journey of life. I hope that today's highlight has been encouraging, inspiring, and equipping so you can go out and live your life full of purpose. I'd be honored if you'd take a moment to leave a review, or better yet, subscribe. We can also stay in touch by joining my email list at hollykirby.com. That's HOLLYCURBY.com. Until next time, make it a great day for a great day.